Welcome to today's session. I believe and I found great success at applying a lifestyle perspective to creating a lifestyle that involves staying off pornography and masturbation. And it's about reconnecting with the 5 areas of your life which allow you to wake up each morning and face the day with joy and purpose. These areas of your life are the areas of mental, social, physical, emotional, and spiritual capital. Now, disconnection from any of these 5 is the reason for your compulsive behavior with pornography and masturbation. And reconnection is not only the path back to these areas of your life, but it's also the antidote to letting them go. The pain you experience in life, which you medicate, whether it's anxiety, loneliness, insecurity, stress, frustration, anger, and so on, exists because you are out of sync with these 5 areas. To stay away from your compulsive behavior with porn, sex, and masturbation for life, to rewire the brain without fear of ever returning to your former behavior, you must heal, nurture, develop, and keep all 5 areas in check with what I call Reboot Capital. I spoke about this earlier in the program, and here's a quick reminder for you. Just as a person starting a business needs capital, an abundance of funds to ensure that the business stays afloat in its early days, a man struggling to end his behavior with porn and masturbation addiction needs an abundance of internal and external resources in all 5 areas to ensure that the results of his reboot are maintained. When you deplete reboot or recovery capital or disconnect from any of the 5 areas, your system of living is thrown off balance and you quickly spiral towards a relapse. So you must become, in a sense, a gardener. You must learn to cultivate and nurture all 5 areas of your life with a well-balanced supply of nutrients, which is your reboot or recovery capital, if you plan to experience a great harvest. In our case, a positive and easy journey to freedom from pornography and beyond. Now, when all 5 areas are working together, you experience contentment, fulfillment, and balance in your life. However, we must always monitor and ensure that each area has sufficient reboot or recovery capital to use when times get tough. But this is important. There is something that can sabotage you. The one thing I've seen over and over again that gets in the way of living a well-balanced life free of porn and masturbation is arrogance. And listen to this, brother. Sometimes some men still think that they can heal on their own. So this causes them to become lazy and to stop monitoring their physical, emotional, social, mental, and their spiritual life. And because things perhaps may have been going very well for you, you begin to think that you can solve all these challenges on your own. This is very common in men who are recovering from an out-of-control sexual behavior, and you will hear me mention it a few times in this course. Your success in other areas of your life can blind you. I coach highly successful business owners, sales reps, financial planners, lawyers, pastors, executives, high-performing professionals who fall into this trap over and over again. You may have gone through some challenging situations to arrive at where you are, maybe in terms of your financial success, in terms of your career or your family life. And it's very hard to admit that the skill sets, the belief, the willpower that got you there is not enough to help you control this out of control behavior. So it's a blow to your ego. And often I'll have brothers who stay in the program for a couple of weeks, feel that they have control, and then they go on. They don't follow the system because their belief is that they can still do this on their own. And maybe you're one of those men who has been playing this losing game for years. Ask yourself, when I leave the program to do this on my own, what am I disconnecting from? My emotions, my social life and my relationships, my belief or my intellect, my humanity? Now, through some circumstance or influence, you're not able to deal with a real or imagined challenge. So instead of seeking support due to your ego, or perhaps in the past you had a bad experience where you sought support and it failed, it didn't work out, you've disconnected from these in exchange for something which can instead fill the void. And of course, the void is filled by pornography, masturbation, and your out-of-control sexual behavior, which brings about your shame and guilt. You cheated, lied, and manipulated those you loved and yourself. You disconnected from empathy, from kindness, and from your basic humanity to become selfish and self-absorbed. Your pain, your pleasure, your problems became your only concerns as a human being. Now, hearing this approach may be new to you, but ending this behavior is not linear. It doesn't end by sitting in a circle and confessing that you're a porn addict or following some 12-step group or giving up your self-reliance to a higher power. You have the right to a happy and porn-free life. And with a little help, you'll discover the inner capacity to transform into a better human being. Let's briefly talk about the types of reboot or recovery capital that needs to be built up in order for you to get there. The first is what we call physical reboot or recovery capital. And this really covers your health, nutrition, and sleep. The next is intellectual or mental capital. This includes recovery skills and knowledge. The next is emotional reboot capital, which covers your values, commitments, goodwill, self-love, and others. And then we have social capital, which is supportive relationships, intimacy, resources from other people, and culture. And finally, we have spiritual capital, which is your guiding principles, your moral compass, your sense of purpose, and spiritual centeredness. Those are the different aspects of your reboot capital. And over the next few sessions, I'm going to be diving into each of them individually. It doesn't matter which of them you think that you are good at. This often happens. I remember early in my reboot being taught about the different areas. And I thought of the physical area and I was like, I got this. Like I'm in great shape. How does this affect my sexual behavior? But my nutrition and my sleep was horrible. I was shocked at how much it actually impacted my out of control behavior. So my advice to you as you move on to the next sessions is to take each area of your reboot capital seriously and complete the videos and any worksheets which come with it. You might be surprised at how much some areas impact your life. I'll see you on the next session.